it's a system where everyone benefits without relying on a third party, without any middlemen. And it's really something that has never been possible until the creation of blockchain technology. So it really comes back to the point I was saying, is that whenever there's something new brought into the world, something innovative, something that could benefit people and improve their lives, it's originally it's not understood. It's especially technology. People don't understand it, and it gets a bad name. And the same thing happened with the telephone. I think it was John McAfee talked about it. Like, people thought it was just for criminals, it was for mobsters. Cars were for bank robbers, the automobile. And then you had then you had more recently Bitcoin. It was just, everyone's like, internet money, obviously a scam. And it was just something misunderstood. And I think Hex is the case. Hex is not the exception. Hex is the rule, that it is a new technology that is just misunderstood by the rest of the world. But the people that understand it obviously get to benefit from it. And what do you think about that?
So let me ask a follow-up then. How would you describe how Hex, how a gambler would end up using Hex?
I mean, he'd trade it, right? He would go to, he'd get leveraged. I mean, yeah, right. He'd go on that centralized exchange on FTX. He'd get 10x, 100x leveraged and go long or short.
That's not possible with Hex, because Hex isn't on those types of exchanges yet, although there's one coming soon that I won't ever promote, probably. But the idea is, yeah, you're right, they would trade, right? And so they would what would their staking behavior be?
I would say short term, right?
Probably not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
They would just hold liquid.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to give up control. They don't want to delay gratification. And so and I like to say there's a little trader inside of all of us.
Yes.
And thank God, because if we only delayed gratification, we would die. We would starve to death if we only delayed gratification.
It's a very good point.
It's really, really awesome that there's a little trader in all of us. But when we get into greedy situations, like where we see people doing so well in Hex, it's very easy, I think, to want to play catch up and to want to think like, well, maybe Hex won't do exactly what it did before, and we don't, there's no level of certainty. But what I like to prepare people for is like, what percentage of your Hex bag do you want to allocate to if things go way better than you thought they could? Because that's what's happened so far, is that Hex has gone way, it's like, you could hear people say, we didn't think it was going to go to a penny. I can tell you definitively, because I sold Hex. I sold a little bit of Hex at 0.0000 whatever. Okay. So I thought that Hex wasn't ever going to I wasn't even thinking in pennies. I was thinking Hex was always going to have so many zeros that I wouldn't even know or care. Right. So that's something that's telling us, like, just because Hex now has a value that like we can remember or like comprehend does not mean that that there's 0% or that you should be like 0% allocated to if Hex does really well. I mean, if for people in Bitcoin, if they put 10% of what they were willing to lose in Bitcoin, if they put 10% of that into like a best case scenario bucket, that would have treated them super well 10 years down the line.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I would like. That's what I'm thinking about right now.
And just to interrupt you, sorry, just think about how well that would treat the price. Think about how Bitcoin would be doing in comparison to now if everyone in the beginning committed 10% for 15 years.